The rain poured over the city like a curtain, streets glistening under neon lights as bus number 7 hissed to a stop at Oak and Main. And behind the wheel sat Marcus Brown, a black driver who had given 12 years of his life to this route, enduring the quiet stares, the muttered slurs, and the casual cruelty of passengers who thought his uniform made him less than human. Tonight, as the doors opened, 4 white passengers climbed aboard, a pair of cocky young men, a woman with sharp red lipstick, and an older man with a stiff briefcase, and, the moment their eyes landed on Marcus, smirks twisted into insults. "Oh, great, we've got him driving tonight," one sneered, followed by laughter and sharper words. "Bet the bus doesn't even make it to the end of the line. Do they even teach your kind to read maps?" And though Marcus's jaw tightened and his hands gripped the wheel until his knuckles ached, he said nothing, because one wrong word could cost him his job, his dignity, everything. Yet the attacks kept coming. The older man muttering about dirty hands from working fields while the younger snorted, more like cleaning toilets, their laughter slicing through the bus as if meant to strip him bare. And in the back, a little boy's whisper broke the tension. "Mum, why? Are they being mean to him?" But his mother shushed him quickly, refusing to meet Marcus's eyes. And that silence, the silence of those who knew but would not stand, burned deeper than the insults themselves. Marcus inhaled slowly, telling himself under his breath, "Just drive, Marcus, just drive." But tonight, the words felt hollow. For tonight, their venom was heavier, their mockery sharper, and though they couldn't see it, a fire had begun to smolder in his chest. A question rising with each breath: how long can a man endure being treated as less than human before he finally refuses to stay silent? And by the end of this ride, that answer would explode, not just within this bus, but across the entire city. The rain hammered harder against the bus roof as Marcus gripped the wheel, his knuckles pale against the dark leather, eyes fixed on the slick ribbon of asphalt ahead, but his ears couldn't escape the poison bubbling up from the group in the middle rows. 4 of them, loud and restless, their voices filling the bus like static that couldn't be turned off. The ringleader, a heavy-set white man with thinning blonde hair, leaned back with his boots stretched across the aisle, barking comments like commands, each one sharpened with cruelty. "Pick it up. Driver, I got places to be," followed by the echo of forced laughter from the others. The younger man with a baseball cap threw in jabs about Marcus's age, his intelligence, his driving, while the woman with the red lipstick sneered like she was rehearsing for an audience, her words dripping with venom designed not just to insult, but to humiliate. Marcus had been here before 12 years. On this job had taught him that there are 2 kinds of silence: the silence of peace and the silence of fear. Tonight, the bus was filled with the second kind. The other passengers, an elderly black woman clutching grocery bags so tight the plastic cut into her hands, a Latino father with a little girl curled against his chest, a white college student with headphones she no longer dared to use shifted in their seats, their eyes sliding anywhere but toward the group, pretending not to hear, but their bodies were tense, shoulders hunched, faces stiff, every one of them praying that the storm would pass without dragging them in. Marcus thought of his father, then, a man who had swung a hammer for 40 years and still walked tall even when his back bent. A man who once told him, "Don't let their words cost you your bread, son. You fight with patience, not fists." It was wisdom Marcus had clung to through decades of swallowed insults. But as the laughter from the middle rows grew louder, uglier, he wondered if patience had simply turned him into a container for other people's hate, carrying it until it threatened to spill over. At the next stop, the doors hissed open and a teenage boy stepped on board, rain dripping from his backpack, his dark skin catching the fluorescent light. He looked no older than 16. Marcus caught the hesitation in his eyes, the way he paused, scanning the cabin, sensing what awaited him, the way prey senses a predator's shadow. He sat a row behind the group, and immediately, the red-lipped woman curled her lip in mock disgust. "God, they're everywhere now, aren't they?" she said, loud enough to slice through the hum of the engine. The boy's eyes darted to the floor, his jaw tightening as the younger man snickered. "Careful with your purse, honey, don't want it walking away on its own." The laughter that followed was crueler than before, sharper because it landed on someone young, someone defenseless. Marcus's chest tightened. His grip on the wheel shook. For a brief second, he imagined slamming the brakes, standing up, turning around and unleashing the rage he'd buried for a lifetime, but he didn't, not yet. The company didn't protect drivers like him. If he lost his temper, he lost his job, his pension, his family's stability. And so he pressed harder on the gas, the engine groaning as the bus surged forward. Each insult piling onto the last, like stones on his back. Stop after stop, the tension grew. A mother with 2 children, boarded, guiding them quickly toward the rear seats. Her eyes flicking nervously to the group, as if warning her children to stay invisible. A construction worker with mud-stained boots entered and glanced at Marcus with the kind of quiet nod that said, "I see you, brother," but kept his mouth shut, unwilling to ignite the fire. Even the college student who had stayed silent too long finally tugged out her headphones, looking around as if deciding whether she had the courage to say something. But her gaze faltered under the sneers of the bullies, and she too chose silence. Marcus felt the weight of it, the silence heavier than the words. The silence that told him no one would stand with him if this broke open. The group grew bolder, their insults turning uglier, more direct, as if they could smell his restraint, and fed off it. The older man leaned forward, spitting. "You people should be grateful we even let you drive us around instead of cleaning up after us." The bus fell still. Even the children in the back froze. The only sound was the squeak of the wipers, dragging water off the glass. Marcus swallowed hard, tasting iron in his mouth. In the rearview mirror, his eyes caught the boy's wide, hurt, burning with confusion, and in that instant, Marcus felt something crack inside. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about every boy who would step onto this bus in the years ahead. It was about every man who had kept his head down and paid the price in silence. His father's words rang in his ears. But so did another voice, his mother's, telling him when he was a child, "Son, if you let them erase your dignity once, they'll keep erasing until there's nothing left of you." Marcus blinked hard, vision blurring for a moment as the headlights of an oncoming car smeared across the wet road. And in that dizzy second, a decision rooted itself deep in his chest. Tonight would not end like all the others. He wasn't going to be their punching bag, not tonight. Tonight, something would change. The storm outside raged louder, but inside the bus, the storm of voices was worse. Each insult now a strike against Marcus's patience. Each laugh, another match dropped onto gasoline. The blonde ringleader suddenly stomped his boot hard against the floor, making the little girl in the back jump, her father pulling her closer. "Hey driver," he barked, his voice carrying through the aisle like a whip. "You're deaf, or just stupid?" I said, "Turn up the heat in here. Or is that too complicated for you?" He punctuated the insult with a wad of spit that landed on the rubber floor, just feet from where Marcus's eyes flicked in the rearview mirror. The red-lipped woman leaned across the aisle, her voice cutting like broken glass. "You should be on your knees cleaning this bus, not sitting up there acting like you're somebody." A ripple of nervous laughter spread from the group, and this time Marcus noticed the college student, her jaw tightening, her lips pressing thin, finally whisper, "That's enough." But the cap-wearing younger man shot her a glare so sharp she shrank back into her seat. Eyes down, shame coloring her face. The teenage boy behind them couldn't shrink though. He clenched his fists, his breathing quickening as he muttered, just loud enough to be heard, "Why don't you shut up?" The words hung in the air like a gun cocking. The group snapped around, their laughter cutting into snarls. "What did you say, boy?" The cap-wearer barked, rising halfway from his seat. The boy froze, but his eyes burned with a fire. Marcus recognized the same fire he himself had once carried at 16. A fire beaten down over decades of survival. The older man sneered, "Sit your black behind down before I teach you some respect." He reached toward the boy's shoulder, and in that moment, Marcus slammed the brakes. The bus lurched violently, passengers gripping seats, bags sliding down the aisle. Gasps filled the cabin. The group stumbled, curses flying, but Marcus didn't care. He had their attention now. His voice came low, steady, carrying the weight of years swallowed in silence. Nobody lays a hand on him. Nobody. The bus was still except for the squeal of rain against glass. The group stared, surprised at the steel in his voice. For the first time, Marcus saw a flicker of hesitation in their eyes, but it didn't last. The red-lipped woman smirked, whispering something to the ringleader, and he chuckled darkly. Or what, driver? You gonna cry to your boss? You think anybody's gonna believe you over us? He spread his arms as if owning the entire bus. Face it, sure, nothing but a seat warmer in a uniform. Marcus's chest heaved, fury and fear colliding inside him. His father's voice warned patience, his mother's warned pride, but the boy's terrified eyes demanded action. Knew if he backed down now, he would lose more than just respect. He would lose the last piece of himself that still believed in dignity. Before he could respond, the Latino father in the back stood up, his daughter clutching his sleeve. That's enough, the man said firmly, his accent thick but his voice steady. He's doing his job. Leave him alone. A hush swept over the bus. Someone had finally broken the wall of silence. The ringleader turned slowly, eyes narrowing, his grin venomous. Oh, so the help speaks too, huh? He spat. He stepped into the aisle, the cap wearer following close behind, their boots heavy against the trembling bus floor. The tension was so thick, it was almost visible, like smoke choking the air. Marcus's pulse hammered in his temples. He could feel the explosive end building, like thunder waiting to strike. His hand hovered over the radio to call dispatch, but he knew it was useless. They'd put him on hold. Tell him to stay professional. Tell him his job depended on staying calm. No, this was something he would have to face alone. Except, maybe not. In the reflection of the windshield, he saw the college student rise again. Her face pale, but her voice louder this time. He's right. Leave the driver alone. Leave all of us alone. The courage in her voice cracked the tension like lightning. For the first time, the bullies looked uncertain, defeated, but rattled. Their arrogance challenged. And Marcus, heart pounding, realized the moment of choice had arrived. The insults had turned to threats, the silence had turned to resistance, and there was no going back. The tension snapped when the ringleader suddenly lunged forward, closing the space between himself and Marcus's seat, his breath sour with alcohol, his words venom dripping. You think you're a man because you sit up there in that uniform. You're nothing but a boy in a costume, driving around real people like us. That's your place, hauling us where we want to go, smiling while we spit in your face. He slammed his fist against the metal pole so hard, the echo rattled through the bus. Marcus flinched but didn't move, his grip white-knuckled on the steering wheel. The red-lipped woman cackled, pulling out her phone, angling it toward him. Smile for the camera, busboy, she mocked. Let's see how pitiful you look when you beg. The cap-wearing thug shoved past a row of seats and barked. Go on, get down here and shine my damn shoes. That's all you're good for. Laughter ripped through their group, ugly and sharp. Bouncing off the walls, the little girl in the back began to cry, her small sobs breaking the heavy air. Her father wrapped his arms around her, glaring, but said nothing, fear locking him in place. The teenage boy couldn't hold back though. You don't talk to him like that, he shouted, voice trembling, but fierce. The ringleader whipped around, eyes flashing. What did you say, monkey? You want to end up in the hospital? He lunged toward the boy, but Marcus was out of his seat in an instant, blocking the aisle with his body. Enough. His roar thundered through the bus, shocking even himself. His chest heaved, decades of swallowed rage spilling free. You've had your fun. Not one more word. Not one more step toward these passengers. The group froze, taken aback for a flicker of a second. Then broke into jeers again. The cap wearer smirked. Or what? You're gonna hit us. Then you'll lose your job, your pension, your whole life, and we'll make sure everyone hears how you attacked innocent riders. Who's the world gonna believe, huh? Us, or you?" The words cut deep because Marcus knew he knew the system, knew how many times men like him had been painted as the villain. His hands trembled, the weight of injustice pressing him down. For a moment, he almost sank back, almost let the shame win, but then, he saw them. The boy's fiery eyes, the father's protective grip on his daughter, the college student now standing tall, phone raised, recording everything. Their silent plea screamed louder than any insult. This wasn't just about Pangaea, was about everyone on that bus who'd ever been told to stay silent. Marcus drew in a breath, steadying the storm inside him. "You think nobody will believe me," he said, his voice low but razor-sharp. "They don't have to, because the whole world is about to see exactly what you are." He nodded toward the college student's camera. She held it higher, voice shaking but strong. "I've been recording since you threatened that boy. Keep talking. Show everyone who you are." Panic flickered across the woman's face as she hissed at the ringleader. "Stop, they're filming." But rage had blinded him. He grabbed Marcus's uniform collar, yanking hard. Gasps erupted. The bus rocked as Marcus shoved him back, the man stumbling into the pole. The group exploded, shouting, one of them screaming, "We'll ruin you. You'll regret this." Marcus planted his feet, his voice booming like thunder. "No, you'll regret this. You don't get to terrorize people anymore. Not on my bus." Blue and red lights suddenly painted the rain-streaked windows. Someone, maybe the father in the back, had called the police. Tires splashed outside, doors slammed, and within seconds, officers stormed aboard. The group's bravado drained instantly. Their curses, twisting into excuses. "He attacked us first," the red-lipped woman shrieked, pointing at Marcus. But the student stepped forward, phone in hand. "I have it all, every word, every threat. They're lying." The teenage boy, still shaking, added, "They tried to grab me. He protected me." The father raised his chin, voice steady. "We all saw it." For once, silence fell over the bullies. The officers ordered them off the bus, their protests swallowed by the storm. One by one, they were cuffed, their arrogance shriveling as the evidence weighed against them. The ringleader caught Marcus's eyes one last time, hatred burning, but there was fear now, toother, fear of being exposed. Marcus stood tall, chest rising and falling, the adrenaline still flooding his veins. The passengers began to applaud, softly, hesitantly at first, then stronger, until the whole bus shook with claps and cheers. The college student lowered her phone, eyes shining with gratitude. "You stood up for all of us," she whispered. Marcus sank back into his seat, exhausted but unbroken. For years, he'd endured humiliation in silence, biting his tongue to keep his job, swallowing his pride to survive. But tonight, in the middle of a rainstorm, he had found his voice and, in doing so, given others the courage to find theirs. He closed the doors, the bus humming forward into the night. And for the first time in a long time, Marcus didn't feel like just a driver.